No matter what he is doing, no matter who he is with, he is always thinking about me.
I think it's funny that men think they can handle a woman like me. I mean, look at me. I'm a different fucking breed. In fact, if you give me the option to choose between big or little spoon, I'll always choose big spoon. Why? I don't care if you're a 6'4" linebacker. I need to assert my dominance. How are you going to give me shit when last night you were sleeping in a fetal position while I King Kong tugged your insecurities away? That's right, bitch. You can't. I'm basically your mother now, so with that being said, there's rules in this house. Like rule number 1, you see this chair? Yes, this is the only thing that will ever support your ass in my house.
Okay, stop saying that my standards are too high. Like, if you can't meet them, that's fine. Just admit it. There's no shame in that. But don't make me feel bad for knowing what I'm worth, because that's pathetic.
Guys, some of these girls are going to be single forever, okay? The kinds of advice that they give to each other is absolutely ridiculous. You know, oh, just go out there, queen. You deserve the world no matter what happens. I'm sure you're going to find a man. But here's the thing. A lot of men are seeing TikToks like those at the beginning of today's video, and they're saying, you know what? I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to have a relationship with you. I have no interest in marrying you or anything like that. And guys, on today's show, we're going to be taking a look at some TikToks that just make men want to leave dating forever. We're also going to be jumping into an article that talks about, tips that women give to each other while dating. And guys, rest assured, it is absolutely hilarious. So without further ado, guys, we're about to jump in. Make sure to leave your thoughts and your comments as we jump into today's video. It's always interesting to see what you gentlemen have to say. So without further ado, let's crack into some of these videos here.
No matter what he is doing, no matter who he is with, he is always thinking about me.
That's just not true. It's super funny to see these girls. They'll talk about like, oh, he's always thinking about me. He's always thinking about the good times we had together. No, he's not. Like a lot of guys, when you give them disrespect, when you show them what kind of person you actually are, a lot of guys are just going to say, you know what, up yours, I'm out of this relationship, I'm leaving, and they'll never think about you again. Girls will. Girls will stalk your Instagram, man. They'll stalk your Facebook. They'll stalk your Snapchat stories. They'll stalk everything to make sure that they haven't missed out on something. It's quite crazy.
Me.
I think it's funny that men think they can handle a woman like me. I mean, look at me. I'm a different fucking breed. In fact, if you give me the option to choose between big or little spoon, I'll always choose big spoon. Why? I don't care if you're a 6'4" linebacker. I need to assert my dominance. How are you going to give me shit when last night you were sleeping in a fetal position while I King Kong tugged your insecurities away?
Like, is this supposed to be funny? Right? Is this what passes for humor these days, guys? Like it's just girls getting on TikTok using like aggressive humor, quote unquote, that it honestly makes such little sense to me, man.
That's right, bitch. You can't. I'm basically your mother now, so with that being said, there's rules in this house. Like rule number 1, you see this chair? Yes, this is the only thing that will ever support your ass in my house.
I've never understood this thing going on in society right now, guys, where like there are legitimately dudes out here who like being treated like crap. Right, I can make these videos all day, man, about like, don't deal with a girl like this, or, and we show you guys these situations, things that we can learn from. We talk about Patreon questions, which, by the way, I forgot to bring it up, which I'll do in a minute, right? We talk about all of these things, but there are dudes out here who will put up with this crap and they actually like it. And that's really concerning, man. These girls are getting money for literally nothing. Dudes are just throwing pennies at them. But it's quite ridiculous. And we'll get into the article and the Patreon questions later on today's episode.
House. Like rule number 1, you see this chair? Yes, this is the only thing that will ever support your ass in my house.
Okay, stop saying that my standards are too high. Like, if you can't meet them, that's fine. Just admit it. There's no shame in that. But don't make me feel bad for knowing what I'm worth, because that's pathetic.
And said the woman who, still can't secure a relationship. Like, I shouldn't say that. I don't know if she's in a relationship or not right now. But yeah, your standards, your quote-unquote standards, they're going to keep you single. So enjoy those while they last, right? But and when I say while they last, a lot of these girls will have these ridiculously high standards as they go into their 50s, and they're just alone with their cats, man. It's some of the saddest stuff you'll ever see. But let's take a look at today's Patreon question before we continue, and before I forget. So we had a question sent in by JA, not going to be showing people's names. It is, how can I think about dating in 2022 when I feel like women are out to get me? Guys, this is something that honestly comes up quite a lot with the state of dating at the moment. If you're a dude, I will say this, right? If you're a dude and you're successful in any sort of, if you got a lot of money or something like that, girls will certainly come after you. Right now, I don't know if JA in particular there is, is wealthy or something like that. But the point is, guys, like a lot of men are not dating at the moment, and it's the last thing on their minds. And you know what? I would strongly urge you as men. This is just my perspective, guys, to put dating to the back of your mind. A lot of these girls, they're not worth the dates. They're not worth the dinner dates. They're not worth the money. They're not worth the time. And the truth of the matter is, guys, is chasing girls is an absolute waste of time. Right? An absolute waste of time. You're going to have far more success just doing what it is that you care about doing. You're going to have a far more fulfilling time chasing what it is you care about. And don't do these things for women, guys. Don't be hitting the gym for women. Don't be doing your hobbies for women. Make sure you do it yourself. But my perspective on it, guys, is like I personally don't blame dudes who don't focus on dating at all. In fact, it can be a pretty idiotic thing to do to focus on these ladies. But let's continue with today's video.
5 worst red flags to look out for when dating, part 3.
I'm gonna turn off the light. Good night. I love you.
Oh, no.
Oh, I forgot to lock the door.
This is a dark psychology trick to make anybody fall in love with you. This is 100% manipulation. I do not recommend doing this to anybody because it is super toxic, and I'm only making a video on it so you can at least be aware if it's happening to you. It's just a 3-step hot and cold technique where you first have to build up a pattern of pleasure and validation, just making this person feel amazing around you. And then you have to break it. Emotionally and physically, you have to pull away from them because this is going to make them feel insecure, like shit, and most importantly, the need to chase and get that validation back from you that they just got addicted to. And then you just have to turn that on button back on again and start validating them. This is going to make them fall in love with you, but in a very unhealthy attachment style. Until they figure out what the fuck you're doing. Good luck.
That kind of stuff, more and more men are seeing, and they're like, you know what, I'm just not going to deal with it. Right? Because of the truth of the matter is that those manipulation games, this little BS that these girls play, that they share with each other on TikTok, it only attracts people who don't respect themselves. Dudes who respect themselves are not going to deal with that kind of crap. They're just absolutely not.
When you accidentally go on a first date in a hurricane because you feel bad canceling last minute and he wants to go.
This is me on my way to a first date. My umbrella is flipped over. It's fully just storming. I'm cold. I'm soaked. I just had to document this. You've got to be good. I'm just saying, if I don't find love with this kind of effort put in, who will? After the date, which was 1 single hour long, in which he made me pay for myself when I trucked here in a little hurricane. We walked outside and he said, yeah, you're right, we should have rescheduled. Bitch. Oh my God. Of course, the train was feeling just a little silly, so the C train was running express past my stop, so now I'm walking back down. No man on earth has ever made a woman this wet. It's moments like this when you really know whether you're a Sex and the City kind of New York girl or when you're a Broad City kind of New York girl. Guess which one I am. You. 0 out of 10. Do not recommend going on a date in a tornado/hurricane. And we're back on the couch.
Did you guys catch that part in the video right there where she's like, oh, he made me pay. How awful is it, right? He made me pay, and I had to walk out here in this hurricane, right? What happened to the equality talk, Like, oh, we're strong and independent ladies. We don't need no man. I had to walk out in this hurricane. How do you think he got there? He had to travel through it as well, right? But it's all about like me. Okay, it's like, oh, he made me travel out all this way, so he should pay for my food. It's like, guys, cut the crap, man. Like cut the crap. The dude had to make it there in the hurricane as well, right? And let me say something as well. A lot of girls, a lot of guys will be confused, right? When they're out there trying to date, and girls will be like, oh, I can't come because it's raining, or, you know, I have to flake on this plan because of XYZ reason. Like, guys, this woman was literally out there in a hurricane trying to have a date with this dude, right? Girls will literally push aside absolutely everything. I don't care what the weather is, guys. Like, if a girl is actually into you, she's going to make it happen. Like, she'll literally shove everything else out of her life to make it happen. Like, that woman was literally in a hurricane right then, apparently.
Where I wanted to be the whole night anyway, with a margarita. Cheers to dating in New York City.
Bye.
Hi. Oh, God, I want to do him.
Oh,
Don't leave me.
I know. I'm gonna miss you.
I already miss you, baby.
Oh.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Have a good day. Don't forget the trash. I already told you earlier.
Oh my God, get off my back.
Bring the barrels in.
Babe, I'm leaving.
Bye.
Are you gonna come say goodbye?
Ryan, I'm taking a shit right now.
Well, that was a bit rough. Guys, we're going to be jumping into today's article, and it's going to be on some tips that women give to other women while dating. Because, guys, you might be watching videos like this, and you might be thinking to yourself, well, Taylor, that's just totally ridiculous. There's no way these girls are literally out here advocating for girls to do these sorts of behaviors out on dates or whatever the case may be. But let me tell you guys, there are sites that, you know, they'll write articles. There'll be girls recording TikToks giving dating advice to each other. And let me tell you, gentlemen, it is some of the funniest crap you'll ever read because it's so ineffective and it's so stupid. Guys, we're going to be jumping into one such article right now. Hopefully I pulled up the damn screen correctly, which I think I did. And this article right here is titled Dating Tips for Women, 15 Things to Keep in Mind. And it goes, dates, dates, dates. While some ladies enjoy going on dates, others think it's pretty awkward and even strenuous. Today we'll share some important dating tips for women to help you make the most of your dates. Dates are meant to be fun, you know, meeting with someone you like or maybe even love. But sometimes it can get us all worked up wondering how we are supposed to act, talk, or even eat, especially if you are meeting for the first time. Now take a deep breath and relax. Life is not that hard, and all those worries will make things worse. Rather than get anxious and worked up over how and what to do right on your date, check out these 15 dating tips for women below, guys. So let's take a bit of a look here. Oh, man, there's other ones here. I gotta cover some. Surely these are equally as crazy. 10 habits, blah blah blah. 10 ways to impress your crush and make them think of you. Right, okay. The first tip is don't say any and everything. To avoid giving the wrong impression on your date, you have to be careful when giving out details about yourself. Be mindful of what you tell him. I know, you want to get to know each other, but kindly save him the details of your gory childhood memories that now affect your views about in-laws or men. You will not only prevent your date from making hasty or correct judgments about you, you might be saving yourself from future trouble like being stalked or having your words used against you. So you take a chill pill, have fun, and don't tell too much. Yeah, because what better way to date men then omit the truth, right? Like don't disclose details about yourself that might help a man judge what kind of character you are or what kind of individual you are. Hey, how about we just hold things off so he really has no clue, he can't make a correct judgment, and then go from there. Fantastic advice to really start off the magazine here. Next one, don't be quick to pass judgment. This is the 21st century, and if there's one thing you should be reminded of, it is not to judge a book by its cover. I know it's quite easy to fall for people's outwards appearances, but be sure what you see is in sync with what he is. In other words, if he makes a lot of money, make sure he spends it on you. Just because a man is arrayed in the glory and splendor of shiny shoes, a three-piece suit, and fluent language use doesn't guarantee that he is responsible. On the contrary, a man whose tie doesn't match his shoe color on a dinner date might be the most down-to-earth individual you'll get to meet in that decade. Now, am I saying that you should discard well-dressed men for a shabby-looking fellow because he might be Mr. Right? Not at all. The bottom line is, appearances are great, but forming an impression out of it would be making a mistake. Way forward, listen to his words, his actions, and his attitudes. Chances are you'll get a hint of his real persona. Now, you might be thinking, Taylor, right, this is pretty inconspicuous, but if you read between the lines, gentlemen, you wind up with crap like this. Let me see if I can find this. This is what this really means, okay? We have a Reddit article here, and I know I'm jumping around a little bit, but stick with me, boys. So we have a Reddit article here titled, "Do people grow on you, or do you know right away if you should go on a second date with someone?" And what I'm really getting at here, guys, is as girls will get older, they'll go on dates with men. And this happens when they're younger too, but especially when they get older, they'll go on dates with men that they have no interest in at all romantically. Like, they'll just go on dates with the dudes because they're looking for commitment. They're looking for long-term provisioning, security, and crap like that. So you wind up with things like this. "I'm a 31-year-old female. I've been on quite a few dates, 11 to be exact, from February to December. My main issue is that I wasn't feeling the spark, chemistry, or physical attraction to the majority of my dates." That's more honest than you'll mostly see these stories. Most of them don't even bring up physical attraction at all. They'll just say spark and chemistry when everybody knows it means like, oh, he wasn't tall enough for her, right? "A friend of mine was telling me that I didn't explore enough with some of the dudes, but my argument to that is I get the feeling early on, so why explore if there's nothing there romantically? Do people grow on you? Can you find that spark later on in life, later on in second or third dates, or do you generally get the feeling of attraction in the first date? I did try to go on a second date with someone who was a perfect on paper, but didn't have a chemistry with, and on the second date he kissed me briefly and I didn't feel anything. So I think for me I should go with my gut, but I still question if I'm rejecting guys too early or too soon. Also, is it harder finding that spark the older you get, or is it just me? Or maybe now I'm just way too picky, I have no idea, lol. Dating is hard," says the 31-year-old woman. Guys, when you read stuff like this, what it essentially means right here, don't be quick to pass judgment, is basically like, you know, keep that guy there. You know, just keep him around, just in case, because a lot of girls, what they're doing is, as they get to these older ages, they're like, oh crap, I really need a man now. I'm running out of time. So they'll be like, that's why they get in relationships, and they'll give guys bedroom fun in the beginning, but then as the relationship continues on, she'll start to withdraw intimacy from the man because she was never attracted to him to begin with. She just manipulates him into a relationship. Like stuff like this, guys, when you see it play out, it's incredibly messed up. Let's go on. Let's have a look at some of these. This is a good one. "Don't be left stranded. Whenever you're going on dates, ensure you carry extra cash or your credit card to avoid stories that touch. A friend once told me about how her date decided to go Dutch on her at the restaurant without prior notice. Messy, right? I know. So whoever your date is, I don't care if he's Jeff Bezos' son or a distant cousin of Bill Gates, always ensure it's not just your makeup and hairbrush you stuff in your purse while you're going out. Take some cash with you too, in case of unexpected circumstances." Yeah, like you having to pay your half of the bill. Isn't that crazy, right? Look at this. Take some cash with you too, in case of unexpected circumstances. Like, I'm sorry, were you expecting just to rock up on this date and not pay a damn thing? Because that's really what she's saying there, guys, is like, I'm just going to rock up on the date. It doesn't particularly matter. The dude's going to pay for me anyway. I'm sorry, guys. This is 2022, excuse me. These girls ask for equality. And as far as I'm concerned, guys, they can have it. Let them pay half the bill. But apparently, they don't carry money around, right? Apparently, it's advice to carry cash because, you know, what if you get a guy that refuses to pay for you? And the really sad part about this, right, is there are lots of dudes who go on dates and they think that the girl's into them because the girl has said yes, right? Let me tell you something, gentlemen. A lot of these girls go on dates just for the free food, just for the free dinner, just for the free experience. Like, you guys see those Instagram pictures of like those OF models, what they'll do. Like, there was one that we covered in the episode right before this, actually. Girls like that, they'll go out there, they'll get on like boats and take photos and stuff like that. It's not their boat. Right? It's not their experience. It's not their cruise. It's not the things that they ordered or bought or anything like that, guys. The fact of the matter is that a lot of these girls are faking it, and then they're hoping that you see them and go, you know what? I'm going to invest into this girl. I'm going to put money into this girl because, well, other guys have. That makes sense, surely. But the thing is, it doesn't. Right? Because these girls, a lot of men are actually not paying this money for them. A lot of them look, some of them have a bunch of Sims who'll pay the money and stuff like that, but they try and make themselves look so much more important than they actually are, gentlemen. You know, like and again, back to the last video, the one previous to this, guys, that I did a couple of hours ago, depending on how they've been scheduled in by my editor. But, you know, they just try and make themselves look so much more important than they actually are. Like she was saying, oh, I'm an influencer, right? I'm an influencer. I influence people. You don't influence crap. You don't influence anything. But let's continue with some of these dating tips here. Easy with the probing. Unless your date is a CIA undercover project, you've got to slow down with the inquiries. It's okay to have questions lingering on your mind, and I understand how eager you are to have those questions answered. I mean, you're just getting to know him. However, asking too many personal questions, especially on the first date, is a total turnoff. Knowing someone takes time, not answered questionnaires from a date night. And you know what, guys? Like, I actually agree with this piece of advice right here. A lot of girls who are like 30 plus, they'll go on dates and they'll literally just interrogate the guy. Like there was a TikTok that we covered, I think it was a couple of days ago, where the woman was basically explaining the questions that she would ask dudes on dates, and it was like, how much do you earn, where do you live, what kind of job do you have you got kids, do you want kids, you know, or do you work out, all this kind of crap she was asking him, just like a barrage of questions. And it was like a meme TikTok or whatever, but that kind of stuff is really off-putting. Because what you come to understand very quickly is the girls who are going on dates and asking all of this crap, they're not asking it because they care about you, right? They're not asking it because they're interested in you or getting to know you or caring about you or stuff like that. They're asking the questions because it's relevant to their life situation. Because they need to know, okay, well, if I get with this dude, is there going to be food on the table if I don't feel like working? Right, that's the question that she's thinking in the back of her mind. She's not thinking like, wow, I'm just keen to get to know this man. It's like, no, what can this man do for me? So that's actually the first piece of advice that I agree in here, which is don't be annoying people with endless amounts of questions. Let's continue. Be sure is number 7. Now, this is about striking a balance. I know I already mentioned that you shouldn't ask too many questions during a date. Nevertheless, it shouldn't stop you from asking 2 or 3 questions about what you're not sure of. If you're not clear about something, kindly put it out to him for clarification. Don't act based on assumptions. A question or 2 won't hurt. I want you guys to think in your head, right? When she says, when these girls are talking about questions in articles like this, do you guys think that they're talking about questions that don't have a motive behind them? No, of course not, right? They're questions designed to go, okay, is this guy going to be someone who's going to be stable and reliable for me? Now, guys, you might think that that's not too bad of a line of questioning, but she never asks those questions when she's in her 20s, does she? The same girls that are reading and writing crap like this, guys, they're not looking for stability in their 20s. Hell, they're not even they're not really looking for stability from dudes that they're attracted to anyway. It's so funny how it works, right? Because they'll claim that they're attracted to stability and all this. They just want a man to care for them and a guy who's always going to be there for them. But if you look at their dating history, guys, something really doesn't line up, because that's not what they're sleeping with. That's not what they're having bedroom fun with. The guys who they're going out here having bedroom fun, they couldn't care less about these girls. Absolutely not, right? But again, just recognize that these questions that they're asking for clarification on, they're all to do with like provisioning and what the guy can do for her, essentially. Let's continue. Number 8, know what you want, whether it's before, during, or after the date. It's important that you know and understand what works best for you. And this is double spaced right here. This is very frustrating to look at. If you know you want to, if what you want in a man is quite different from someone who is sitting before you, be honest with yourself about it. Do not allow your infatuation cloud your judgment. Man, right, okay. It will save you some future stress and heartache. Also, don't set unrealistic standards for who you want your dream man to be. Oh, that's a rough one for these ladies to swallow. I mean, it's quite funny when a needy, disrespectful woman won't go for any guy that's not 6'5", respectful, caring, and a rich life partner. Yeah, you see, she says this, right? But if she's like 5'11", she's not dating a dude below 6 foot, right? If she's, you see, this is the thing. They'll be like, oh, don't be unrealistic, but you're still single at 30 plus years of age. So who's been unrealistic this entire time? But let's take a look here, okay? Look, if what you want in a man is quite different from who is sitting before you, be honest with yourself about it. Like, it's so funny how these girls will self-admittedly go on so many different dates. I'm actually going to chuck up this Reddit story, right? The one that we just had. And they'll talk about how many dates they go on, right? 11 to be exact, from February to December. And it's like, girls are so picky, man. They're so absolutely picky. You can give them a guy who's like, you know, he's got his stuff together, he's quite tall, he's got this, he's got that, he's a nice guy, he cares about her and stuff like that, but oh, he's not exciting enough. He's not enough of a mystery. Oh, he's just not tall enough, or he just doesn't, or Michael down the street over here, he earns a little bit more, so I'm going to go with him instead. These girls will go on date after date after date after date and still be unable to find a long-term partner, excuse me. And you see how that works, guys, is like when they turn around and they start asking for sympathy about these sorts of things, like, guys, I have absolutely no sympathy, right? I really don't. Like, I reserve my sympathy, my empathy for people who actually deserve it and aren't in self-inflicted situations, right? I've made this point before as well, but I'll bring it up again. Guys, this goes for, you know, if you're a dude who's overweight and stuff like that as well, it's time to take personal responsibility for the things that happen in your life. Right? Girls will be out here saying, oh, dating is so hard, it's so difficult, it's so, you know, it's so this, it's so that. But the reality is that they put themselves in that situation, right? And referring it back to, like, for example, the gym, or if you're overweight, it's like, guys, you've got to recognize, like, if you're making poor decisions in your life, whether it's to do with eating, whether it's to do with dating, these are things that can be fixed. But these girls out here, guys, they're like, you know what? It's got nothing to do with me. Nothing to do with me. And that's why they never fix it. That's why they end up 50 plus, 30, 40, 50 plus, whatever. You name the number, guys, and they're still single with cats. And a lot of guys are seeing this, and as dudes continue to climb up, whether they're earning more money, they're hitting the gym or whatever, you think that a guy who hits 35 and 40 is really going to be looking at these girls who hit 35 and 40 and being like, yeah, let me get with a girl like that? No. Because those girls, guys, they have so much baggage by the time they end up that age. They don't, you know, they don't like men because they haven't managed to secure commitment the entire time. So what do you think you're going to be, right? If you're a dude and you've been grinding and you get to that age, you're going to be the guy that she comes along to. She's going to treat like a meal ticket. She might act all feminine in the beginning, but everything will change as the course of the relationship goes on. And as soon as she gets that ring, then things start to really unfold. Okay, and I've made this point many times, guys, but like, as you commit more, you'll notice that things tend to unfold more. Because girls think that, oh, I don't have to do crap anymore. I can just walk all over this guy and it's not going to be an issue. And the sad part is a lot of guys let women walk all over them, which is really, really rough to watch. But guys, we're going to be returning to today's Patreon question before we continue with today's last Reddit story. So, again, returning to today's Patreon question sent in by JA was, how can I think about dating in 2022 when I feel like women are out to get me? Guys, you've got to be very conscious about your situation. Okay, I'm going to be straight up honest about this. A lot of guys who are, this is going to sound really messed up to say. If you're a dude and you've got out of a long-term relationship or a marriage or something like that, like you've just gotten a divorce, please recognize, guys, that there is sense and understanding that you have a bit of a target on your back. Right? If you're a dude who's earns a lot of money, if you're a dude who, you know, has been through a rough situation, a lot of people will prey on that, right? And I wish I could put it differently, and that goes for guys and girls as well, right? But a lot of people will prey on the weakness that comes along with that. But guys, insofar as dating itself, don't focus on dating. Dating should never really be the focus of your life, guys. Like, and I know that's annoying for a lot of guys to hear, but there are much better things to focus on than these girls out here who, quite frankly, guys, like, we all know how these girls choose their partners. They can't even choose them correctly, guys. Like, they really can't. A lot of you are putting too much faith in these girls who, a lot of them don't know up from down. They end up with dudes who constantly mistreat them. Okay, it's not as if their selection process for the dudes that they date actually holds any moral merit to it. Right? This is something that a lot of guys get really caught up on. And again, I'm going to bring up a man that I spoke to I spoke to him on Patreon, right? And I mentioned this guy last video, but he had just gotten out of a very serious relationship, going through all this stuff. And one of the things that really struck him first was like, how come the dudes that these women end up with, they always seem to have no morals, right? She'll go on and on about how she needs a dude who's going to care about her and have all these morals and stuff like that. But these girls are literally out here chasing dudes with no morals, and that really bothers a lot of guys. Guys, let me be the first to tell you, these girls will write these cute little dating articles about like, oh, here's what you need to do to get a guy to like you, and it's all some BS about how you need to lie and, you know, manage what people perceive of you and all this kind of crap, right? But the fact of the matter is, guys, is these girls don't care about morals, okay? A lot of the times they truthfully don't care about you. I'm just going to be straight up honest, guys. And that's pretty much the state of it. It's really rough to hear, guys, but that's the cold hard truth of it. And that's what it is. Guys, we're going to be taking a look at today's last Reddit article before we wrap up today's show. So don't forget to leave your thoughts and your comments as we jump right into this one. This is a little bit of a rough one, okay? This one is titled, "My girlfriend ghosted me after 3 years of a loving relationship. Too long didn't read. Very loving relationship ended in a complete ice out and stuck me with the bill. I was in potentially the most loving relationship of my life for the last 3 years. My significant other, or ex-significant other now, was so loving and pretty communicative, and in the midst of the P word, we ended up living together and having to isolate together for the better part of 2 years. We became best friends and often referred to one another as soulmates. We did indeed fight. She had left her life behind for me, her choice, I did not ask her to, and she maybe lost her identity in a bit of living together. We would fight too, but it was not gross, unhealthy fighting. It was just normal couple fighting and discomfort at each other's bad side. In my mind, it was just normal crap couples need to go through to have a balanced life together. However, in November, we had definitely been in a funk for a few weeks, not really fighting, but definitely had felt not so close to one another. It was sad, but to me it was yet again just another bump. She did not do a great job at expressing her personal discomfort with the situation, and I later learned in an extremely long text from her that she felt less than around me and was miserable for that period. She moved back to New York for a month to get her head straight and still wanted to be quote-unquote together, but called our status quote-unquote complicated and wanted to focus on finding our individual selves again. Yeah, she wanted to go, find her other dudes. What am I trying to say, man? I'm just stumbling over everything. I think it's bedtime after this video for me, boys. Finding our individual selves again. Yeah, she's going out here, she's finding other dudes is what she's doing. I was really not into that idea, but I did not argue with her and just asked that we keep at least some communication during that period. We did text almost every day and had an occasional phone call, sometimes about our relationship, just talking through the issues, and sometimes just casual about what we are up to. I had said that January 15, her return date, was a day when we needed to take a decision on what to do, how to move forward. She agreed and promised me that she would give me some answers or insight by then, but was not ready to make a decision on what she wanted. Kick her out, man. Kick her out. Blah, blah, blah. The texts and phone calls were loving too. Lots of pictures sent back and forth of old memories and sometimes talking about our collective plan as it stood. But last week, the week before she had to return, she just stopped talking to me altogether. I sent a few texts and no response. I sent a text to her friend to ask if she was okay. No response. Which, by the way, guys, like, if you didn't know this, girls will team up and do that. Like, a lot of guys think that they're friends with their girlfriend's friends. Yeah, you're only friends with the girlfriend's friends until the relationship dissipates. Like, that's how it works. Like, all the morals out the window, guys. Like, it's so funny because they'll talk endlessly about morals, right? And how, oh, dudes need to do this and he ain't crap and all that kind of stuff. But girls will cover with each other, and they'll cover for each other in the most messed up situations, guys. Like, I kid you not, man. But blah, blah, blah. She didn't respond to me. I tried messaging her, but she wouldn't talk to me. I've realized now that she is not a good communicator, especially with bad news, especially since the initial breakup text. But I just never thought that she was capable of doing such a hurtful thing. We have a house together and our lease is up in a month, and I have now been packing everything for her. All her things separate from mine. I am planning to move out of my current city and try and find something, but I am having a lot of trouble letting her go and understanding her behavior. I truly thought I was going to marry her, and I had so many plans for us. I thought we were going to have a second chance, and that this was just a really low point for us. I don't think I was naive either, because the last time we talked on the phone, she still referred to me as her soulmate. She says, yeah, you're her soulmate, but the dudes that she's going out there and she's having fun with every night in New York City, yeah, that's something else. A lot of guys seem to think that husband material, soulmate, boyfriend, like all of these things are good titles. These are not good titles to be given. This basically means provider is what this means. This means the dude who's going to take care of her life at the very end. I also realized that my actions to tip her over the edge may have been problematic, but she never addressed them in the form of an ultimatum or something that we couldn't figure out. One of the last things she said to me before bailing to New York was, "We have all the time, there is no deadline." Yeah, and you see, that's the giveaway. Is she thinks that she has time to put off marriage, to put off a house, and put off kids and everything like that. So she's gone back to New York to have fun with those dudes. I mean, guys, really process that sentence, right? We have all the time. There is no deadline. This is kind of the brainwashing that womanism gives these girls, guys, is like they can go out here and they're not ever going to run out of time. Blah, blah, blah. It has been a very difficult thing for me to understand, and I know she has way more skills in dissociating and pretending everything is fine. For me, I am left in this house to be miserable and confused. I just want to know if anyone else has been through this or if anyone has any advice. I feel as though I have no options. Thank you, Reddit. You know what? A lot of guys leave that comment at the end. They're like, oh, I feel like I'm the only one going through this. Right? I feel like this situation, I'm the only guy who has to go through this. But let me tell you something, guys. A lot of men are fed up. A lot of men are absolutely done. Whether it be a result of this dating advice that we covered earlier in this video, some of the TikToks, some of these articles, guys, men in mass, this happens to them a lot. And a lot of dudes are absolutely done with dating. And gentlemen, I cannot say that I blame them. Guys, we're going to be calling today's episode there. As always, make sure you leave your thoughts and your comments below in the comments, gentlemen. It's always interesting to see what you guys have to say. Make sure you drop your thoughts to today's Patreon question, an article, or a TikTok, guys. And as always, gentlemen, make sure you take care of yourselves, and I'll be seeing you boys in the next episode. Peace.